They say Route 19 is cursed. Locals avoid it after sunset. But I needed money, so I took the night shift at the Black Coyote Bar. Now I follow strange rules to survive till sunrise, and I'm not sure I'm even human anymore. Asterisk, the sign flickered, like it didn't want to be seen. Black Coyote Bar. Paint peeling. One corner dangling on rusted chains like it was about to snap off and impale the next idiot who walked underneath. That idiot, of course, was me. It was a lonely stretch of highway. Route 19, in northern Arizona, just before the rocks turn red and the land forgets your name. This place wasn't on the map. Hell, my GPS refused to acknowledge it. But there it was, standing crooked in the desert like it had been waiting for me all along. I needed the job. A month behind on rent, phone disconnected, and a grandma with hospital bills up to her neck. So when a Craigslist ad promised generous, "Hey, night work," must be respectful of rules, I didn't ask questions. Desperation makes you blind to red flags. The manager was waiting for me behind the counter. He didn't look like a bartender. Tall, thin, too pale for Arizona. Wore a BOLO tie with a silver coyote head, its eyes glowing red even in the dim light. His smile was wide, a little too wide. "You must be Caleb," he said, voice smooth like syrup, but cold. "Yeah, that's me. Welcome to the Black Coyote." Before we begin, he slid a yellowing piece of paper across the counter, typed with jagged black font. At the top, it read, "Rules for working the late shift at Black Coyote Bar: never serve the man in the corner booth. He'll ask. He'll beg. Ignore him. If a customer offers you a drink, say yes, but never drink it. Between 2:33 a.m. and 3:03 a.m., do not speak. Not even a whisper. If the jukebox plays Red River Valley on its own, go outside and bury something, anything. Never go into the bathroom after 3:15 a.m. If someone goes in, lock the door behind them. If you hear coyotes laughing outside, laugh back, loud and long. The mirror behind the bar shows truths. Don't look into it unless you're ready. If a customer calls you by a name you don't recognize, leave for the night. Immediately. Clean the ashtray on table for every hour, even if no one is sitting there. At sunrise, burn these rules and recite the phrase carved into the cash register. I looked up. He was still smiling. "Any questions?" I laughed. "Is this some kind of joke?" His smile didn't change. "You'll see." He handed me the keys and walked out the back without another word. And just like that, I was alone. 10:03 p.m., my first hour. The bar was empty. Wooden floors creaked. Walls were lined with dusty antlers, weird bones, and faded photos of people whose eyes had been scratched out. A stuffed black coyote stood on the counter, snarling at nothing. I cleaned a few tables, wiped down the taps. The silence settled into my bones. Then the jukebox in the corner crackled to life. I turned. N01 was there. The tinny, old voice hummed through the speakers. Musical note. From this valley they say you are going. Musical note. My blood froze. Rule 4. If the jukebox plays Red River Valley on its own, bury something. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the first thing I saw, a broken bottle, and sprinted out back. The desert was cold. Too cold for July. I dug a shallow hole with my hands, shoved the bottle in, and covered it fast. As soon as I did, the music stopped. Just cut off. My heart pounded. I walked back in. Behind me, somewhere far off, I swear I heard laughing. High-pitched, unnatural. Coyotes. 11:40 p.m. The man in the corner booth. I noticed him after cleaning the ashtray on table 4. The man sat in shadow, hat low, coat dark. His presence made the air feel thicker. He raised a hand. I ignored him. He raised it higher, fingers curled like a claw. I remembered rule 1. Never serve the man in the corner booth. He stood slowly. I turned my back. Then I heard his voice. "You forgot me, Caleb. Don't you remember our deal?" I froze. I never told anyone my name tonight, except the manager. I turned. The booth was empty, but in the seat was something. Wet, glowing, beating. A heart, still pumping. 12:45 a.m. A stranger's drink. A woman walked in. Pale blue dress, blonde curls. Looked like she'd stepped out of the 1950s. She didn't blink, didn't smile. She sat at the bar and ordered a whiskey. I poured. She didn't touch it. Then she leaned in. "You're new," she whispered. "Yeah," I said, nervous. "First night." She smiled. Lips too red, teeth too sharp. She raised her glass. To new beginnings. I raised mine, just to be polite. Cheers. She watched, intensely, to see if I'd drink that I pretended to sip. She nodded, satisfied. Then she stood, walked backward out the door, and vanished into the desert. The whiskey she left behind? Still cold. Full of teeth. 2:33 a.m. The silent hour my watch beeped. 2:33 a.m. I remembered Rule 3. Do not speak between 2:33 and 3:03. No talking. Not even breathing too loud. I held my breath and sat behind the bar. That's when they came in 0.3 figures. Tall, wrapped in burlap. No faces, just carved symbols. Where their heads should be. They didn't order anything. Just stood at the bar. Watching. 1 leaned close. Its head almost touching mine. It whispered, but the sound was inside my head. Speak, and we will see what your throat hides. I didn't flinch. I didn't move. At 3:03 a.m. sharp, they vanished in their place. A mirror shard, still humming with voices. 3:15 a.m. The bathroom. A regular stumbled in. Greasy hair, dead eyes. Asked for a beer and headed to the bathroom. I didn't think. Then I remembered Rule 5. Never enter the bathroom after 3:15 a.m. If someone goes in, lock the door behind them. It was 3:16 a.m. I ran. The door was still open. Inside, I saw him standing at the urinal. Except, his reflection in the mirror was watching me and grinning. With no skin on its face. I slammed the door and jammed the lock. Screams echoed inside for a full 10 minutes. Then silence. When I opened it later, the bathroom was bone dry. Not a soul inside, but scrawled on the mirror was one word. Run. 5:55 a.m. Sunrise. The sky turned bruised purple. I grabbed the rule sheet. It was time. I struck a match. Set the rules ablaze on the floor behind the bar. Then I turned to the old, dusty cash register. On its back, I found a phrase carved into the metal. Not English. Not even Latin. Still, I read it out loud. My mouth burned. My eyes bled. The mirror behind the bar shattered. And for just a second, I saw myself. Except it wasn't me. I took a job at the Black Coyote Bar on a cursed stretch of Route 19. 10 rules keep me alive here, but barely. My first night, I faced the jukebox's song, a silent hour haunted by faceless beings, and a man in the corner booth who knew my name and left behind a still beating heart. At sunrise, I burned the rule sheet and read a phrase carved into the cash register. But when I looked in the mirror, the man looking back wasn't me. 6:06 a.m. The morning that shouldn't have come. I woke up behind the bar. The sun was too red. Everything had a burnt tint, like reality itself was singed around the edges. The place was empty again. Still, silent, except for the stuffed coyote on the counter. Its mouth had changed and no longer snarling. Now it was smiling. A knock on the front door. That's when I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Soft, but deliberate. It was still early. Too early for customers. I crept toward the glass door, eyes squinting through the rising dust outside. A silhouette stood there in no car. No sound, just a woman in a funeral dress, barefoot and holding something. Wrapped in canvas. I unlocked the door, hesitating. She stepped in. Her eyes were solid black, and tears of what looked like tar streaked her face. Did you burn the rules? She asked quietly. Yes, I said. Then it's begun. She set the canvas. Bundle on the bar. You'll need this for tonight. Then she turned and walked back out into the desert. Where she stepped, the sand sizzled, like it couldn't tolerate her presence. When I unwrapped the bundle, I found a knife made of obsidian, a jar filled with ashes and teeth, a notebook, leather-bound, with property of Jeremy T. Cross etched into the cover. Jeremy Cross. I'd seen that name before, etched faintly on the bar's floor under a stool, next to a burn mark that never cleaned off. The journal of the last bartender. Inside the notebook were entries, scattered and chaotic. March 2nd, they came again. I served them what they asked, because I forgot the rules. I bled for 3 days. The laughing hasn't stopped. March 9th, the jukebox played Red River Valley. I buried my left thumb. Still wasn't enough. Something came up from the ground anyway. March 23rd, Rule 7 is a lie. The mirror doesn't show truths. It shows what's waiting. March 30th, Caleb, if you're reading this, I didn't die. I became part of the bar. Don't trust the reflection. It wants out. My hands shook. The entries ended abruptly after that last one. Underneath, in faint blood-colored ink, one final message. The blood moon is coming. Laugh with the coyotes or die forgotten. Sunset, 7:01 p.m. The sky was already wrong. Thicker, closer, and there were two mini-moons. Three pale orbs hung overhead like eyes. Watching. I lit every candle in the bar. Turned off the lights. That seemed to please the walls. Then the first guest arrived. 7:14 p.m. The mirror man, he wore a suit of mirrored glass, head to toe, like a walking disco ball. Except his surface reflected things that weren't real. I saw myself in him. But not me now. Me, 5 years old, screaming, crying, holding something covered in blood. He sat down without a word. Drink, I asked. He didn't speak, just raised a hand. A single finger pointed to the mirror behind the bar. Rule 7 screamed in my head. Don't look unless you're ready. But something tugged at me, pulled me forward. I looked and saw my reflection blinking. Except I wasn't blinking. I wasn't moving. But the man in the mirror, he smiled. And then he stepped forward, right up to the inside of the glass. He mouthed something. It's your turn now. Then the mirror cracked, a web of fractures right across my face. I turned to the mirror man. He was gone. Just an empty bar stool and one of his mirror shards on the counter. Still warm. 9:00 p.m. The coyotes come. The wind howled, but it wasn't wind. It was laughter. Coyotes. Far away at first, then closer. Too fast. They circled the building. Howls rising like a chorus of mocking spirits. Rule 6. If you hear coyotes laughing outside, laugh back, loud and long. I didn't want to, but I opened my mouth and forced it. A broken, barking laugh that echoed off the walls. The second I did it, the laughter stopped, and then something knocked on the back door. Knock. Knock. Scratched. I didn't answer. Instead, I grabbed the obsidian knife the funeral woman gave me. When I returned to the bar, the stuffed black coyote was gone, and a set of footprints, canine, but too large, led across the ceiling. Midnight. The blood moon rises. The sky turned scarlet. The bar shook. Bottles rattled. The jukebox turned on. Not Red River Valley. This time it played something older, just a humming, deep and wet, like something singing from beneath a grave. 3 patrons entered, one after the other, each missing their faces, just smooth skin where eyes, mouth, and nose should have been. They sat silently, waiting. I poured them drinks, whiskey, vodka, and blood. My blood. One of them tapped a napkin. It read, "He is coming. You will serve him, or he will wear you." And just then, the man from the corner booth reappeared. But this time, he wasn't alone. Behind him stood a second Caleb, identical to me, except his eyes were full of fire. 3:03 a.m. Reflection reversed. I couldn't speak, could barely breathe. The clone stepped forward. He smiled like I do when I'm pretending everything's fine. The man from the corner booth, now fully visible, whispered, "We made a deal, remember? Blood for blood, roll for roll. It's your night off, Caleb. Let your reflection take over." And my body froze. I couldn't move. My reflection, the other Caleb, walked behind the bar, put on the apron, flashed a grin, and said, "Welcome to the Black Coyote, traveler." Just like I had. 5:59 a.m. I'm stuck. I'm writing this from inside the mirror. Now I don't know if you'll see this. I don't know if you are the next one. But the rules are real. The coyotes are hungry. The jukebox sings for blood. And the Black Coyote never closes. Not truly. My name is Caleb. And I think I'm still here, watching, waiting. I took the night shift at the Black Coyote Bar, a cursed pit stop on Route 19. 10 rules dictated my survival. I followed them all, mostly. But something inside the bar doesn't want obedience, it wants replacements. Last night, my reflection stepped out of the mirror and took over. Now I'm trapped behind the glass, screaming silently while he wears my body, smiles with my face, and serves with my hands. But something else has noticed me now, something beneath the sand. 12:00 a.m. Day 3 begins for him. He wears my body like it belongs to him, walks behind the bar, flicks on the neon signs, whistles. He even gets my posture right. But there's one thing he can't fake: the smell. Even through glass, I can smell the desert wrong. I can taste the dry rot leaking through the cracks in time. And every time someone new walks through that cursed door, I feel it in my bones. They know something's off, and so do the things in the dust. Hole 12:19 a.m., the hole behind the bar. There's a trapdoor I never noticed. Neither did he that it opened itself, and no latch. No sound. Just a dark, gaping mouth in the floor. Obsidian Caleb, the one wearing me, walks past it. But every time he does, the hole whispers, not words, just names. Jeremy Cross, Caleb Graves. My real last name. But I never told anyone that. Not even in the application. Oh, how does the bar know? Receipt: new rules appear sometime between 2 and 3 a.m. A new rule sheet unrolls itself from the register, longer than before. Blood red ink. The reflection, my imposter, reads them aloud. His voice cracks that he's scared. Black Coyote addendum. Night 3 protocols: do not close the trapdoor. What crawled out will go back in. If a barstool bleeds, let it bleed. Wipe only when the laughter stops. The new bartender, you, is on trial. Your performance will be judged. If an old man enters wearing a rattlesnake hat, do not speak to him. Let him speak. Let him finish. Then clap exactly 6 times. The reflection of the reflection is not loyal. Use the mirror shard wisely. The dust outside is awake now. If it enters the bar, sacrifice something living. If you smell burnt citrus, someone is lying. At 4:44 a.m., burn the first tooth you ever lost. If you don't have it, borrow someone else's. You are not real until you bleed willingly. Obsidian Caleb stares down at the list, then looks at his hands and starts to bleed, just like that. Knife. Glass. Just blood pouring from his palms as if the bar itself demanded it. On my side of the glass, I watched it all. I can't scream, but I can feel something. The mirror has depth now, like I'm standing in a long hallway that leads back further than the bar's foundation, further than time. And something else is here with me. It drips. It breathes behind my ear. It knows my real name. Caleb Graves, you were born beneath a dead star, and you will die beneath a laughing moon. I turn, and I see Jeremy Cross, half his face gone, one eye twitching, body full of teeth that don't belong. You burned the rules too early, he wheezes. You gave the bar what it wanted, a mirror, but it's always hungry. He holds out a shard of glass. Take it. Stab it into the floor behind the register at exactly 3:16 a.m. That's when the reflection is weakest. I take it, and I wait. 4 o'clock. 3:16 a.m. The weak point. Obsidian Caleb stares at his hands again. Bleeding still. Tired. He leans against the bar. That's when I see it. The floor behind the register. It's glowing. So I run through the mirror hallway, full speed, and stab the shard into the floor. And I feel a crack, not in glass. In reality, a noise like thunder underwater echoes through both sides of the bar. The bottles shatter. The coyote on the counter explodes into ash. And the imposter, he turns and screams with my voice. No, he's not supposed to come back. Cyclone. Something awakens beneath the sand. The trapdoor blows open. A dust storm whirls inside the bar. Sand pours in like blood from a wound. And from the trapdoor, they emerge. Not coyotes, not humans, shapes, dripping. Dust and teeth and moonlight. They circle Obsidian Caleb. One speaks. You have served well, but he has returned. And now the debt must be paid. They tear off his face. No blood, just a mirror underneath. They throw him into the trapdoor. The floor seals shut like it never existed. Person standing. I wake up. Real again. Am behind the bar. Hands real, skin raw, but mine. The mirror is still cracked, but empty now, and a fresh set of rules sits beside me, burning softly. This one only has one rule. Rule 0. If you leave, you forget. If you stay, you become. 6 o'clock. 6:06 a.m. Morning again. I walk out back. The desert is calm. Sun rising like nothing happened. But in the sand, there are footprints. Mine, leading away from the bar. But they stop suddenly. As if whoever made them just vanished. Receipt. I am not the same. I don't know what I am anymore. But I know this. I still work at the Black Coyote Bar. The customers come. The jukebox plays. The coyote's back on the counter again. And every time someone new walks in, I see it in their eyes. Desperate, curious, unlucky. And I hand them a fresh sheet of rules. I smile. I say, welcome to the Black Coyote. You're just in time for your first night shift. I took a night shift job at a bar that shouldn't exist. The Black Coyote on Route 19. Strange rules kept me alive. Barely. I followed them. I broke them. I bled for them. I was replaced by my reflection, banished behind the mirror, and nearly forgotten. But I fought back. I returned. Now, I work the bar again. But the sunrise that comes now is not a gift. It's a test. Because if I fail it, I become the next rule. Sunrise 6:06 a.m. Sunrise protocol begins. The sky should have been blue, but it wasn't. It was gray, flat like old paint water, bleeding pink from the corners. The sunrise felt wrong. Like someone faking a smile right before stabbing you. Behind the bar, the register clicked by itself and spat out a final sheet. Warning: final rules. Sunrise protocol: do not stare directly into the sun. It is not the real one. A guest will arrive with no shadow. Ask them what year they think it is. If they answer 1974, do not blink for 10 minutes. At 6:44 a.m., a door will appear that was never there before. Open it only if you're ready to leave everything behind. If the coyote smiles again, you've already lost. Do not check your reflection until the end. He still remembers. If anyone enters claiming to be you, ask them the name of your childhood. Dog. There's no right answer. They're lying. If the bartender before you left something behind, you must carry it. Rule 0 still applies. Leave, you forget. Stay, you become. I read the rules 3 times before burning them. But the ashes refused to burn. They moved instead, crawled off the counter like spiders and vanished into the vents. Bust in silhouette, 6:13 a.m. The shadowless guessed. The door creaked open, no sound of approach. Just open. And there he stood, a tall, sunken man in a tan suit. Hands twitching, skin dry as paper. No shadowed, he stared directly at me with 2 pits of ash where eyes should have been. What year is it? I asked. He smiled, black teeth glinting. 1974. I clutched the BAR.MY. Eyes stung. 10 minutes. No blinking. The moment I blink, he gets inside. I held my stare. The lights flickered. He didn't move, didn't breathe. Just stood there like a mannequin possessed by radio static. At 6:24 a.m. sharp, he dissolved into smoke. Stop sign 6:44 a.m. The hidden door appears right where the mirror used to be. The wall shifted, creaked like wood, then peeled open like skin. A red door. New. Smelled like iron and old blood. A handle. Brass. Cold. I touched it, and a voice sang inside my head. If you open this, you leave the dust behind. You forget the laughter, the rules, the reflection, but the cost is you. I pulled back because I wasn't ready. Not yet. Something unfinished still pulled at me. Acts 7 a.m. The legacy of Jeremy Cross. A small box appeared beneath the counter. Inside, I found a name tag. Jeremy. A tooth. Human. With the initials. JC etched in it. A note. He tried. You must finish. Jeremy Cross. The last bartender, wasn't erased. He was waiting for someone to carry his burden, and I was next. Rule 7 from the final list echoed in my mind. If the bartender, before you left something behind, you must carry it. So I took the tooth, put it in my shirt pocket. It pulsed like a heartbeat. 7:33 a.m. The man in the mirror returns. I wasn't ready for this part, but I knew it was coming. I turned toward the mirror. It had been restored, whole, polished, but my reflection wasn't me. It was him again, the one that replaced me. The obsidian reflection, now bleeding. Eyes hollow. He grinned. You still don't get it, do you? He leaned closer to the glass, mouth stretching. You're not real. You were made the moment you read the rules out loud. The real Caleb died in the mirror. You're just the latest chapter in the bar's long story. My heart dropped. He reached out. Crack a single fist punch through the mirror. I stumbled back, but no one came out. Only the hand, still twitching, holding a single item, a rusted revolver, and a note tied to it. End it, or repeat it. 8 o'clock, 7:59 a.m. The choice. I stood alone, gun in hand, tooth in pocket, the mirror behind me, the red door ahead, and the sun hanging too still in the sky. This was it. I had 2 options. Kitchen knife. Option 1, stay, burn the tooth, bury the gun, put on the apron, welcome. The next drifter that wanders in. Become the next keeper of the bar. Carve the rules into skin. Serve drinks to shadows. Learn to laugh with coyotes. Become a rule myself. Door. Option 2. Leave open the red door. Forget who I am. Forget the bar. Wake up in a hospital. Maybe a roadside motel. Maybe the desert. Maybe not at all. Never remember this place again. but deep down, always know, something followed. Firecracker 8 a.m. My decision I chose to. The video cuts to static. Movie camera ending A. The door closes. If he left, a man wakes up at a rest stop just off Route 19. No ID, no memory, just a scar down his arm. And the word coyote scratched into his palm. Every night, he dreams of a bar that doesn't exist, that he never drinks whiskey, that he laughs too loud when he hears coyotes. And every time he walks past a mirror, he flinches, because deep down, he knows something still watches. Movie camera ending B. The apron ties itself. If he stayed, another night, another drink, another stranger walks in, eyes hollow, looking for meaning. The bartender, same dark eyes, same twisted grin, slides them a list of rules. Follow these. Or don't. You'll see. And behind the bar, the mirror gleams. And the Caleb inside it, still screaming, still pounding. But now, he's rule number 11. Never believe the bartender is real. If you see his reflection move without him, don't blink. Just run. The Black Coyote Bar was bleeding now. Walls that once held laughter, spilled beer, and off-key country tunes were now oozing a black ichor, seeping from the wood like old wounds split wide open. The floorboards screamed when I walked over them. The jukebox in the corner, long silent, began to play a warped, slowed-down version of Ghost Riders in the Sky, each note dragging like a death knell through tar. But I stood behind the bar, heart pounding, body scraped and bloodied from the night's events. Mason's body was still in the back room, what was left of it. Jorge never came back from the parking lot, and I hadn't seen Harper since she'd run upstairs after rule number 9 was broken. Rule number 9. If the jukebox starts playing at 3:33 a.m., don't turn it off, no matter what it plays. No matter what you hear. It was 3:33 a.m. exactly, and that goddamn jukebox was singing. I gripped the sawed-off shotgun we kept under the bar. My hands were shaking, not from fear. That had passed a long time ago. What coursed through my veins now was something colder, something primal. I wasn't going to run anymore. I was going to finish this. Flashback. 11:55 p.m. Earlier that night. You ever wonder, Harper had said, twisting her braid around her fingers, why they really put you on night shift? Why you got the call after Carter disappeared? I didn't respond. We were leaning against the back patio, smoking under the dim bulb that barely kept the shadows back. I don't mean no offense, she added. You're good. Better than Carter, probably. But something's off. Like, the place wanted you. She flicked her cigarette over the rail and turned toward me. The light caught her eyes just right. It wasn't flirtation in them. It was warning. They say people don't quit the Black Coyote. They just vanish. Like the desert takes them back. Or maybe the bar does. I wanted to laugh, but something heavy hung in the air. Vic, electric, what are you saying? I'm saying maybe you should have read the fine print on those rules, she whispered. Because the last rule, the one you never read aloud. She looked me dead in the eye. That one's for you. Now, 3:35 a.m. jukebox warped into static. Then voices. Crying. Screaming. Then a lullaby. Something inside me snapped. I turned toward it with the shotgun raised. I warned you. A voice shrieked. Not from the jukebox, but the hallway behind it. And from that hallway, Harper emerged. Only, it wasn't her anymore. Her eyes were black pits. Skin pale, bloated, crawling with something beneath the surface, like her veins were slithering. You shouldn't be here, Danny. I followed the rules. No, she hissed. You broke them. You stayed after closing. My hands trembled. It's not 4 a.m. yet. Her head tilted. Crack, crack. This bar doesn't close at 4. It closes when you understand. The walls shuddered. The mounted deer head behind me let out a breath. The pool table bled red across the floor. The mirror above the sink in the men's bathroom shattered by itself. I backed away. What is this place? I demanded. She grinned. Her teeth were no longer human. This place is hunger. It's penance. It's a threshold. It lures the broken ones, the lost ones, the liars. You came here running from your past. The Black Coyote doesn't give sanctuary. It gives judgment. A thunderous boom echoed outside. I saw it through the window. The desert had split open, like a mouth yawning in the sand. Something was rising from beneath, something old, antlered, towering. Its eyes burned like dying stars. The final rule echoed in my head, the one scratched into the underside of the bar in dried blood. If you hear the coyote howl 3 times, You belong to him now. One howl. Then two that the third howl never came. Because I did something no one else ever did. I broke the rules. That I turned off the jukebox. The entire building screamed. Glass shattered. The walls groaned like lungs deflating. Harper lunged across the bar like a rabid animal, but I pulled the trigger. The shotgun blast shredded her apart. Her body twisted into something not human as it crumpled to the floor, but the thing outside, the antlered beast, was still coming. Its eyes bore into me through the walls. It didn't care about guns or doors. It wanted me. Epilogue. 4:06 a.m. I woke up on the roof. Smoke rising from the wreckage of the Black Coyote. Fire trucks in the distance, sirens still muffled as if from underwater. My name is Danny Ellis. I'm the last man who ever worked the late shift at the Black Coyote Bar on Route 19. They never found Mason's body. Harper was officially listed as missing. Jorge's truck was discovered in the desert, empty. But the bar? It's gone now, burned to ash. People say it was a gas leak. But late at night, some say you can still hear music drifting from where the foundation used to be. That warped old jukebox. And sometimes, if you're unlucky, a howl in the wind. Only once. Maybe twice. Never 3 times. Unless you belong to him.